Hello, bootstrappers.
Hello, bootstrappers.
Okay, so today, Will, if you remember when we had a conversation with Scott Levy, he walked us through design. One of the tools that he pointed to was Figma, and you and I were both really curious about it. So today, what I thought I would do is walk you through, if you're going to start from scratch, how to just begin diving into the Figma prototyping tool.
Right. And so what we're hoping to get out of this is, there's a couple of steps to this. You draw things out on paper. We call it a paper prototype. Then you build a low resolution prototype, and that's what we're going to call Figma, where it's not, the buttons don't work necessarily, but maybe you can click from screen to screen. And then there's the high fidelity prototype, which would be your first Flutter type app. And so we're moving downstream from Flutter to what do you do before you put all that work into it, right?
Right. So, this will give you, it's clickable, and you're right, it's not going to do the back end computations or things like that, but it's going to give you a really strong feel of when I go to the screen, what is it like, and where can I go from this screen? So the things that you can begin to think through are what information does the user want to see on each screen? And like, what's the navigation? What are some of the design layouts that would be important given what you're offering as the app?
And in the process, you can also show this to real users and figure out, is what I'm doing even in the right direction, or do I need to rethink this?
That's right. Do they love it? Do they hate it? Are they totally confused? There's nothing like just stepping back and watching somebody trying to push the buttons that you think make all the sense in the world. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't.
And so, we've talked about the three triangles, engineering, design, and sales. A lot of times, the mistake an engineering mind makes is they go ahead and they spend months building something for real before they ever talk to anyone, only to find out it's the unloved toy on that lost Christmas toy island, that nobody wants, or the toy under the bed at, what was it, Toy Story. Yeah, you don't want to build that.
Don't build that. And you're bringing up a really good point. If you think about, how can you make it to the next step on the journey, spending as little resources as possible. So don't overspend on the money, don't overspend on the time, but make sure it's usable enough that you can learn what you need to know in order to know should you spend to go to the next level or not.
Right. And so, we discussed with Matt Price in a recent video where you build a landing page that has a brand promise, and you try to see if users like that. And this is the step up from that, where you're taking that promise and trying to show them how it would look in real life.
That's right. Okay, so you ready to dive in? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you kind of like a glimpse at where we're going to go, and then I'm going to walk you through how to build it, because you haven't played with Figma at all, right?
No, I had a startup send me to it to look at what they were doing, and that's it. Like, I know nothing about how to build the screens in it.
Okay, well, here's what I can tell you. Figma is awesome, but it's one of those awesome, like, it can do so much that it's really easy to kind of get lost in the weeds. But it also has built in some really great examples. And what we're going to do today is take one of those examples, and instead of trying to build everything from the ground floor, we're going to take their Lego set and plug our pieces onto it just to start mocking up a prototype.
So like a good bootstrapper, we're going to start with an example and then iterate.
That's right. So, all right. One of the things, I'm going to share my screen. And one of the things that I know you've been interested in a long time is flashcards.
Yes, I'm a flashcard nut.
You are a flashcard junkie, Will. One of the ideas that you had was, one of the things that people need to learn is human anatomy. Now, not all people, but there's a subset of people who deeply need to learn it. And so what if there was a flashcard app for human anatomy?
I built a site, Yo-Yo Brain, in which I've got 50,000 of my own flashcards that I put in there, and I'd love a way to monetize that. So show me, I'm interested.
Okay, great. So here we are. This is the beginning top level of a prototype in Figma. As you can see, human anatomy. This circle here represents the finger. So I could register or I could log in. I'm going to tell you already have a login, so I'm going to click on login. And here's flashcards for the idea of next to review. So you've got the arm bones. perhaps it's some of the torso musculature. I have no idea what this is. I'm deep diving in, but somebody needs to know what this is. And then each of those you would click on and it would go on. But we're just going to start with the very first layer so that you get familiar enough with Figma that you feel like you can begin to prototype before you build in the Flutter. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Before I pass it to you, there's a couple of things I did. I went to Unsplash, and that's where that front screen came from. And I also went and found some Creative Commons licensed images. And so what I've learned doing product management before is sometimes the things that you put in a prototype can carry all the way through to the product, and you do not want to get in some kind of copyright violation. So even at the beginning, go ahead and grab the images and the text and stuff that you can have the right license for. Okay. Will, you want to share your screen and log into Figma?
Yes. And this is always the part where you feel like you're in the hot seat.
No.
Because, I don't know what I'm doing, so here goes nothing.
We got a new puppy.
Yes. Okay, so I'm at Figma. I did create an account because I feel like that's boring and nobody wants to see that. So I'm going to log in with Google here. And
okay.
Here we go.
All right. So what I did was stepped into the prototyping in Figma. And if you want to just click on that, we're going to learn a couple of the pieces of function. So it's the second square you see right in your big area.
Oh, okay. So right here, big prototyping, click on that guy.
Yeah. And this is one of the kind of pre-built demos that Figma offers. And it is a working prototyping in Figma. Oh, look, we get the drive-by.
Yes, they're hitting me with it. I think I'm going to kill it. Okay, here we go.
Tutorial you. All right, so the important part is you can see everything. This part of the prototype is visible on the screen right now. And so these are all
a nice big overview so you get a big picture of what's going on.
That's right. Now, up in the top right corner of your screen, just to the right of the share button, is an arrow. It's like a play button.
Okay, so hit that.
With that, it's going to open up a new window. And this is Figma launches for you a usable prototype. And so you can see how you can click through.
So like log in. All right.
That's right.
Way to go. Now, when I export this, I can pull this up on my phone?
When you export this, you should be able to send anybody the link and they can click through the prototype.
Nice. So I can start getting user feedback.
That's right. You can say, hey, would you just take a look at my idea? Let them click through it, and they can tell you where it worked, where it didn't work, where it was clunky.
Okay. So now how do I escape maybe?
Just go back to your other window. It opened it in a new tab.
I'd open a new tab. Okay, so then I can get back over to where I was at. Awesome.
That's right. So if you back up and go to that overview page that had, the four big, like prototype and wireframe. And
yes.
Yeah, duplicate that. You should be able to right click and duplicate. And then you want the prototyping in Figma, the far left one, not that one.
This one?
That one. And I mouse clicked.
Duplicate.
Duplicate. There you go.
Okay, so we're going to duplicate this guy. Here we go. We got a copy.
Okay, this is your copy. So go ahead and drill into it.
Okay, so now I've got a copy. I'm just going to rename this flashcards.
Super.
Okay, now what do you want me to do?
Now, those first two left columns are really part of their tutorial, so I ignored those for now.
Okay.
And if you go to the blue and pink marble screen, that is that first splash page that you get to when the app opens. And what I did, go ahead and make in the top right part of your screen, it says the percentage, 13%. Make it about 25 or 30%.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. And then focus in on that screen. And yep, there we go. So the image showed up in this pop-up on the right.
Okay, so I click it. I see the image over here, correct?
Yep. You're going to choose another image. And I put in a folder for you, some images that are already there. So you don't have to go.
Let me go to hard drive. And you had all these guys here, right?
Right.
I'm going to download them. And then over here, we're going to choose an image.
Yes.
And let's go to downloads.
Okay, this will be the Unsplash image.
Right here.
Loveunsplash.com.
Nice. Okay, so we've got our guy here. How do I get it centered the way I want
to? That's a great question.
Fit it. Ta-da. Nope, that was not what we wanted. Fill it.
Go crop.
Crop. Oh, there we go. Where's that at? Was it the way we wanted it?
I kind of like having the arm in there, but you can definitely play with the image.
Okay, so I can put it the way I want. And right there. There we go.
Okay, super. So there's a couple of components that are on the splash screen that we want to go ahead and change. And
okay, what do you want me to change here?
So see where it says photo? There's an icon to the left and there's a photo. And
yes.
So the icon to the left, let's just go ahead and delete that. So click on it. And over on the far left, you'll see it says group.
Far left, it says
group. Very far left. Other left.
Other left. Excellent. Okay, group.
Yeah, so click on that.
Oh, there we go.
And delete. You go ahead and delete the union. Delete the other union. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Now click on where it says photo.
Okay.
And let's just change the text. What would you like to say, Will?
Learn that.
Ooh, lean anatomy.
Oh, yes, lean anatomy. We've read too many lean books.
No.
Here we go. Learn anatomy, and then probably center it now?
Go ahead and just click on the box. Don't center it. Now go over to the right.
Okay.
Part where it says constraints. And that top one where it says left, you're going to put it center.
Here we go.
No. Actually, down here where it says constraints is, if you do it, let me just pause for a second. Well, so you can up at the top, you can bump it over up and down and all of that. But if you go down to the constraint section right here,
okay,
then no matter what size screen it's on, it's going to constrain it and keep it that way.
Oh, so this is where you want to set it, not just for this. Okay, got it. So what do I want to click?
There's some drop downs that are a little bit easier just to the right of that. Yeah, so click that and do center. And then the other one, right now it's constrained to the top, but you could put it center if you wanted to, or you could keep it constrained to the top, and then it would always stay that far from the top.
Okay. Well, since this page isn't scrolling, right, it's a single page, I'm just going to center it in there.
Awesome. And then down at this on the splash page, right where you are, yeah, go ahead and take that component out or strip the pieces out of it.
This guy here?
Yes.
It looks like some kind of user's logged in there. Okay, he's gone now.
Great. All right, so now you've got a splash page. If you want to go ahead and see what it looks like, hit the play button.
Okay, so we're going to go back to play. Ta-da!
There you go, Will.
Well, it already looks nice, actually. And it's clickable because I could log in.
That's right.
And log in. Okay.
So let's go ahead and do the next piece of it just to get a little bit more repetition now, okay?
Okay.
So we can let's scroll past the register and login screens.
All right. So we've got our discover where I think it lands you, right?
Yeah. Now, so what you see here is the discover page, and see how it's got 4 images at the very top, and you've got a horizontal row that extends past the screen. That's a slidable, almost like a carousel of images.
Excellent.
And so let's go ahead and just populate those. I gave you some images, you've downloaded them, and this is going to be the same as we did before. So click on it, and you'll see the image come up.
Choose the image. We're going to go to this guy here. Click on it. Choose image. Somebody's going to be playing with the playback speed here. Okay, I've got my 4 images in.
Okay, let's go ahead and play it and see what it looks like.
Oh, it's nice. I guess you just get that constant feedback here.
That's right.
Ooh, okay, so I slide through.
That's right. And then so now, I mean, the next step really is to think about, at a deeper level, what kind of interaction do you want the user to experience? Think about how you can take the existing prototypes that Figma already provides and use them just to get that traction. You can always go back and learn at a deeper level if you want to build from scratch. But if the goal is to begin to get the app out, learn as much as you need to learn to get to the next step.
So how did you go about teaching yourself what we just went through here? Did they have tutorials? Did you go to YouTube and watch videos? What's your learning process?
Oh, it was rocky, Will. It was really rocky. So I'm like, oh, this is great. And so Figma's done a really good job of design, and the output looks so simple and so easy, but just like you're diving into the material design, there's all these elements where you can adjust the gutters, you can adjust the buffers and all of that, and all of that's in here. There is a ton of tutorials out there. They've got great drill downs on the basics. They've got all of these examples of people who've done some awesome stuff with it. And then I realized after a couple of iterations, wait a minute, I bet their examples are that the examples Figma put in here are there for a reason. And they were. I mean,
okay, so like right here, if we go down to help an account, they've got video tutorials, which
everybody on Logic.
which is on YouTube. So here you go. They've got a rich community with a ton of examples of how to do it.
A ton of examples of how to do it. And their community is starting to develop a really robust library of plugins. So things that Figma may not provide out of the box, other people have developed a plugin for to extend it. And I mean, it's a solid product.
So my takeaway I want people to understand is that you've got different levels of creating your product. A product isn't born full blown day one. You go through iterations, you put those iterations out. If you went back and looked at our first dating website, it's almost laughable how crappy it was. But it was just an HTML form that said, send us your profile, and it pulled up mail. It pulled up your mail program. And there wasn't even a database connected. And we would hand paste that back into a web page. So, find a set of tools that lead you up that path from low fidelity to high fidelity. And Figma is a great tool to create a wonderful looking. So low fidelity doesn't mean terrible looking. It just means it doesn't actually do all the work that you would expect behind the scenes, but it allows you to start getting user feedback.
So, well, I'd say the other thing too, and you and I both know this from repetition, is that you may have a desire to deep dive and deep learn a tool, but sometimes that actually gets in the way. Like, to be really clear, when you're bootstrapping, to learn enough to get you to the next step gives you the speed. And so you don't always need the depth. Sometimes the depth is really good and really valuable, but sometimes it actually just slows you down.
I fall into this trap a lot because I'm a very thorough person, and I'll go, I'm going to learn Figma. I'm going to learn everything about it. And pretty soon they call it shaving a yak. You're trying to solve problem A, and then, okay, well, now I got to go learn Figma, and I'm going to learn Figma. And then all of a sudden there's this, you find yourself one day just shaving a yak out in the middle of it, nowhere, trying to work your way back to the problem.
All because you wanted to launch an app, right?
Exactly. So, and the answer is, I learn best when I'm learning to solve a problem.
Me too.
Well, thanks, Bootstrappers. Hope you enjoyed this introduction to Figma. Tell us in the comments what you liked, didn't like, or what you would like us to cover. This channel's for you guys.
Absolutely. Bootstrappers, take it easy, make it fast, but make it.
Till next time.